It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of election malpractices virtually in all the states of the Federation before the actual voting began.
No one has accused me of any offense against any known electoral law or regulation. The people of this country went to polls on Saturday, June 12, 1993, and without let or hindrance chose me as their president. Didn't they? They did.
The spirits of democracy, for once, conformed and smiled on a nation whose political adventure is historic and geographical landscape and demographics are awesome in the Committee of Nations. Nigeria, a nation strategically positioned to shoot the continent of Africa into prominence. Hence, our journey since the 1st of October 1960 has been riddled with a theme of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the question arose, where lies the hope?
My brother, waiting you they think oh, my sister, help don't come, SDP, MKO, Kingibe, action, MKO, Kingibe, SDP, progress. Abiola na the hope, oh, SDP na the party to solve our problem and better our life, oh, MKO, 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 action, Abiola, 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 progress. Now him be the hope for better tomorrow.
Unarguably, it was on June 12, 1993 that the civil rule transition program of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida unknowingly presented an opportunity for Nigerians to truly express themselves with a strong conviction for a united common front devoid of race, religion, gender, or cultural sentiments. The umpire was the National Electoral Commission, NEC, headed by Professor Humphrey Nwosu. The adopted Professor Omo Omori's Option A4 electoral process was good enough to produce two political parties, the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and the National Republican Convention, NRC. Heavens know that the June 12 presidential election between the SDP flag bearer, late Basharun Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, and NRC's late Alhaji Bashiru Tofa was adjudged the freest and fairest election ever conducted in the most populous black nation on earth.
Nigerians came in one unison in mass to really determine their future. June 12 happens to be an election that cut through so many edges.
And Hausa people, they voted for Abiola, and which has never happened in the history of Nigeria. And so far, so good. You know, it has been a great election so far in the history of Nigeria.
Was unprecedented in Nigeria's history. It was the first time ever that all of Nigeria, north, south, east, and west, voted with one voice for Chief Abiola. It had never happened in the history of this country.
I was a year short of eligibility status to vote, so I couldn't vote as at that time. And I remember that having received a lot of political education, because the home, the family, is the first point of contact for all such kinds of learning for children, for every child. So, of course, genetically, I inherited the SDP push. And so a few of my friends and I, got together, bandied around the neighborhoods and urging everyone, urging some of our mates who were a year older, who now had eligibility status, say, hey guys, make sure you vote for MK or Abiola, make sure you vote for MKO Abiola. And then that song, that campaign song, MKO is our man. So it was a national anthem of sort. It was a time that every Nigerian, forgot about tribal lines of division, ethnic lines, religious lines of division. Everybody just wanted the same outcome, MKO Abiola.
Interestingly, the election that was internationally acclaimed to be the fairest, the freest, and the most credible in the history of politicking in Nigeria, somewhere along the line, was not allowed to see the light of the day.
Only one man, the self-styled military president, and his allies could make a statement of fact over the eventual annulment of the election to this generation and those yet unborn.
One can hazard a guess that some people felt uncomfortable with Bashorun Abiola becoming the president of this country. For whatever reasons known to them, and like the military president of that time has repeated himself ever since, his hands, as they used to say, were tied.
All the results were submitted to the court appeal division headed by Achike, showing that Abiola won. Abiola knew. Why did Nigerian press not pick it from? Now, when this was to be done June 25th, the military quickly dissolved my commission on June 23.
Kaduna Mafia ascended to its height between 1976 and 1979 and up to this present moment that we're talking about. So these people are the ones who believe they own Nigeria, all right, and not entirely their fault. This is a British legacy, a very sad one at that.
The leader of the country then, the head of state, in the person of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, decided to annul the result, giving an excuse that there would be an uprising and there was likely to be a coup.
There couldn't have been any coup if you have retired Abacha and the senior top brass. So it's the Kaduna Mafia thing. It's an RNG thing.
Truly, it was a theater of the absurd. While some observers claimed it was too heavy a political tragedy for a nation, other local and international media projected the scenery of a tragic comedy play, a singular act with many calamities. Alas, the people's mandate had been stolen and the winning horse vowed to regain the political treasure tooth and nail. Consequently, the de-annulment struggle began with reliable men of progressive forces.
Off and on until the military released the result of the June 12 election and put the democratically elected president, who is myself, in charge of affairs. I won't go to war. I won't encourage my supporters to go to war. I will fight for peace, and I will get peace.
Between 1994 and 1995, I was already a student of the University of Lagos, and we were always going to fight. I remember losing a pair of shoes at Yaba when they tear gassed us. Those friends of ours in jack boots, okay? So they tear gassed us. We were almost blinded, and everybody, any Yoruba delay, that's how we used to put it in Yoruba language. So I lost a pair of shoes at Yaba and walked barefooted home from Yaba through the railway shortcut to Butemeta, where I grew up.
Towards the declaration of the results of the elections, but that was not forthcoming, even though the international community was not, comfortable with that situation. And out of the pain of losing out in such a very free and fair election, he decided to declare himself.
Fire and brimstone. They tread the path of
The evil genius stepped aside for the 83-year-old interim national government of late Chief Ernest Shonekon to come on board. and subsequently the stern-looking General Sani Abacha came into power via a palace coup to end the intriguing political game. However, the Ekpetedo self-declaration by Basharun Abiola was the climax of the story. And that was the offense of the then Africa's pillar of sports, leading to his eventual arrest.
Hello. You see, there's a large crowd here, and I was being escorted out to detention by singing the national anthem.
Why are they arresting you?
They are arresting me on an allegation of felony, nameless treason or something like that. They're not doing anything, they're just taking me away. Please let me go. You know, I'm delaying them.
The Abacha military administration threw Nigeria's body politic into the dark age, and many Nigerians paid the supreme price, some maimed while others found their way into exile.
The consequence of that annulment is like when you throw pebbles into the pool, you are expected to have ripples. The ripples of the annulment led to so many deaths of innocent citizens, led to the fleeing of pro-democracy activists.
Elijah Kudrat Abiola, the winner of that election himself, Alhaji Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, and many others who died, who were maimed, who were killed in courts now. While that struggle was going on, they were actually killed because their soul and the actions of the military junta then, and all the things that they did for us then, actually, I want to remember my friend now, Reverend Adebi of blessed memory. We were the people, we were the Nadeko at home.
One of the symbols of the June 12 struggle, who many are claimed to be a major factor in the struggle, but who some, out of sheer pettiness and envy, derided as playing not too significant a role in the struggle. It is significant, and it is noteworthy that today that man has just won election as a flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress to fight next year's presidential election. And I'm talking of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Were those leading forces that fought for the de-annulment of the election either dead or alive? The hellish political age was heightened by the dashed hope of Abiola's release, only for the blaring news of his call to glory to shatter the hope of millions of Nigerians. What a day, what a man, what a nation.
History has a way of throwing up icons. And MKO Abiola, what and all, represented an historic development in Nigeria. And that is why his name will reverberate forever in the annals of this country.
His influence cut across the nation. Across the nation. You talk of the northern part, the eastern part, the western part, and he succeeded in becoming a global personality And that meant a lot for what he could have been able to do for Nigeria in galvanizing the available opportunities around the world to enhance the fortunes of the nation. But then the power brokers that were behind the stage were probably not comfortable with him. Whether for national interest or personal interest is a discussion for another day. And at last, they terminated the Hope 93 that probably would have brought rejoicing to the nation. But that is in another school of thought.
MKO, I remember my late mom too saying that if MK Abiola has not died, I can imagine Tosin, my son, going to meet him for one or two charitable projects. At a point in my life, there were just 3 people I wanted to meet in this world. President Nelson Mandela, late, of blessed memory, Sikiru Ayinde Barrister, because of his philosophy and his music. I learned a lot therefrom. And the man under review, Chief MK Abiola, his philanthropy was world class. I was growing up and I heard a lot of Nigerians saying that out of envy, you know our people, Black Africans, out of envy that is he the richest man, there are many people who are rich. I said, look, it's one thing to be rich. It's another thing to be able to spend it for people. Okay, I love his zest, his charisma. He was always smiling. Some people said he is not so fine. I said, look, he wears a smile on his face all the time and that makes him fine.
Undoubtedly, Bashorun Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola remains the spiritual symbol of the June 12 struggle. From the conflict to the climax, the resolution of the June 12 debacle was the eventual installation of the present political dispensation by General Abdulsalami military administration on the 29th of June 1999. However, Nigerians were full of excitement with rays of hope when recognition and presidential honors were bestowed on late Bashorun Moshood Abiola posthumously by the Buhari administration, and the eventual pronouncement of June 12 as Nigeria's new democracy day.
The June 12 that overcome our various divide, and the June 12 that produce unity and national cohesion. This is the June 12 we are celebrating today, and we will nurture it to our next generations. Accordingly, on behalf of the federal government, I tender the nation's apology to the family of late MKO Abiola, who got the highest votes, and to those that lost their loved ones in the cause of June 12 struggle. I'm very happy to be present and to preside over the commemoration and investiture marking the formal official federal government recognition of June 12 as National Democracy Day.
And though it's not yet Uhuru, it's not all over yet until the status of president and vice president is recognized for the late Chief MK Abiola and Babagana Kingibe. We haven't crossed the Rubicon yet. They have to give them that status so that they pay them emoluments, and to members of their family now, as due for presidents and vice presidents. Until that is done, then we can finally take a bow. Or until that is done, for now, it's not yet to be done. We'll keep, piling pressure on successive governments.
To some political observers, this monumental decision would have triggered the second-term victory of President Buhari at the polls. It has been 29 years after, and it is disheartening to know all indices of development are in a retrogressive direction. Having gone through a series of traumatic experiences as a nation and a people, an appraisal of good governance, economic and infrastructural development is rated low, while Nigeria's anti-corruption crusade is proclaimed as a text of suspicion and a charade. Its education sector is a reflection of its ailing system, where strikes have become a recurring decimal in a supposed human development-driven sector.
The time the strike started up to this moment, what is it that the government has not done? So instead of coming here, you should have addressed your lecturers there. Perhaps the only point that you made that is worthy of even attention is you said students should be involved in this, and I think probably this is a very good thing. And it is the only thing I'm going to take out of what you have said here. Thank you very much.
The beautiful ones, like Aikwe Alma said, are not yet born. What else can typify that we had a nasty change, kind of, when people could go into the church, not go to attack them, that's even the pain. You go inside as though you are a worshiper, and then sometime in the middle of service, you open fire on an unarmed set of people, worshippers, inside a worship center. I mean, what can be more gruesome?
Rwanda was in a deep hole, but Paul Kagame rose and said, no, we need to set a new narrative. And the new narrative is there now. Rwanda is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. So we still look forward to that resourceful leadership that will unite the people, secure the people, provide for the people, and make Nigeria a place we all be proud of.
Nothing new to say. The Bible says that already, that there's nothing new under the sun. So I'll just adopt the sit-down look approach. With respect to the future of this country, Bola Ige, Allah Bola Ige, late Chief Bola Ige, sit down, the look. I'm watching.
I'm an incurable optimist. And I believe that there is hope. I'd once written in another medium that was there a genes in the Yoruba man being denied the highest office of the land, from Shivaulo to Abiola. Now the 29th year, a Yoruba man is emerging as a flag bearer of the main ruling party in Nigeria. So by next year, it will be 30 years. I am confident as an optimist, and given what is happening all around and the quality of the person APC has thrown up, going by what he did with Lagos. He experimented Nigeria from Lagos. It paid off such that those of the materials he groomed in Lagos have become very useful and necessary hands in the running of the federal government.
They know the person that this post, you know, is for is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they all supported him. Nobody believed that would happen, you know, and it's like June 12 when all the Hausas supported Abiola during those periods. So, and which is what happened some days ago, and we are all happy.
In the words of late African-American human rights activist Malcolm X, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. 29 years after, listen to this.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is specially made. I want to believe Bola Tinubu is the David of our time. And I believe if nothing goes wrong, he will go on to win the general elections as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
As the 2023 general elections beckons, how prepared are Nigerians to make the best out of the process?